You are looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq. Welcome to my daily review. Today is Thursday, January 16th. And you can see by looking at the scoreboard here, Nasdaq was down 173 points or 0.89%, closed at 19,338 on 8% lower than the 50-day average volume. So we're starting to get lower volume here after a series of high volume in December and into January. The Nasdaq is really frustrating me, and it's been a real choppy, tough tape here in January. You can see that it had these three waves down here. This is how it's frustrating me so much. The one wave down, then rallied up. Then we have this double bottom. You thought it was going to come back and take out that old 20,204. But it couldn't. Then it had this third leg down, which ended on Monday and had that reversal on Monday. And it looked pretty good. Tuesday was, not a bad day. It was down 43 points. And yesterday we ramped up 466 points. So you wanted to see this thing carry on through because it closed yesterday above its moving average. It closes above all the moving averages, 0.8% above the 50 and 0.2% above the 21. And for me, it's go time when it's above the 21. And it's not go time when it's below, which it closed today, 0.2% below the 50, 0.6% below the 21. So now I got to be a little more cautious here. But I think eventually this is going to resolve higher, but it's, you could see these moving averages converging on each other, and that's an indication of, tighter trading here. They're all within like 1% of each other, right? Heck, they're all within a 0.5% of each other, 4/10. So yeah, it's tightening up, and something's going to give here. Obviously, we're heading into earnings season, and I'm going to get to that a little later, but that's going to be the deciding factor here on the Nasdaq. Takes another leg down, or if it can take out the old high here of 20,204. I would just like to see it take out that 20,007 here in the next few sessions if it would oblige me, but it doesn't care what I want or think. All right, the Nasdaq, you're killing me, Smalls. Still in a power trend as the 21 is still above the 50, but man, this thing is really teasing me and testing me and frustrating, to be honest. The SPY, it's day four of a rally attempt today, and all it did was get rejected at the 50, which doesn't look too good. It needs to power through there. We need a follow-through day of 1% or more on volume, which would be higher than today, which wouldn't take much because today it sold off 0.19% on 9% lighter volume than the 50-day average. So it needs to power through that 50. You can see this consolidation pattern here, this flat base on this SPY. So not giving up. That Monday was day one of an attempted rally here, and then we had day two and three. It had 3 days in a row up and then stalled today. So I have hope, I have trust, I have faith that this is going to resolve higher. Um, Although I have no control over it, so I'm just going to react as to whatever it gives me, just take what the market gives. Same thing here with the Dow. It had these 3 days up, tried to have a follow-through day today, but yeah, no thanks. United Healthcare was weighing heavy on this, Walmart. Yeah, those consumer staples not doing so hot. It was down 68 points or 0.16%. It had 2% above average volume, average 50-day volume. You can see it's still well below the 50 and just had an inside day today. It did rally up above the 10 and the 21 though. So those indexes need to curl up. And the IWM is actually up today. Not much, but we'll take it, right? 0.2%. Volume is super light, 27% below the 50-day average. So anyway, you can see the consolidation within a base, and that's kind of all this thing does. If you look at a weekly, it just keeps consolidating, going sideways and sideways, and just cannot make any progress here. Anyway, the thing that's going to move these indexes and the stocks higher is earnings reports. I'm a big believer in earnings. I'm going to get to That a little later, what I'm looking forward to here, as we have here these first quarter earnings reports here in January, February. Taiwan Semiconductor reported today. Pretty muted response to a fantastic report. You can see that it just kind of sold off all day long. Started off nicely and just all day long just sold off. And you can see this close here. The Nasdaq did that as well. I should have showed the index and how they closed today. Yeah, it's a weak close. What a whimper. Um, so anyway, proves my point. Taiwan Semiconductor, great report. Not a great response. I mean, yeah, it was up nearly 4%, so you can't cry about that. 200% above the average volume, but I want more. I wanted to take out this the old high of 222.20 came very close today. It'll probably resolve higher. I mean, look at the accelerating sales growth, 11.34.41, and accelerating earnings growth, 4.31.57. The CEO was ebullient on 2025, but um, we have earnings reports coming from a lot of these mega cap technology stocks, and I think investors are going to be cautious. Institutional investors are going to be cautious ahead of those numbers. We got more bank earnings today. The bank earnings have been fine. I don't know why Bank of America sold off, but that's the way it goes. Just forming this cup-shaped pattern, giving you an opportunity to get in here. Maybe it'll pull back to the 50, but yeah, Bank of America looked fine earnings wise. Morgan Stanley, nice response, 4% move with volume here. You see the blue dot going through the um, moving average. So that's a great sign. Looks like it broke above a downtrend line, and yeah, Morgan Stanley looks fine. I mentioned United Health, just a big drag on the Dow Jones, a price weighted index, and I think it's the second highest weighted. Yeah, to Goldman Sachs, which is 612, which they reported yesterday, and that one actually looks good. The bank stocks look good. United Healthcare, not so much. Slicing and dicing the moving averages and just heading lower looks terrible. And anyway, not a stock I would trade. All right. I mentioned excuse me, Taiwan Semiconductor, and I thought it would really help some of our semiconductor names, and it did to a sense. But I was thinking the Broadcom could break above this downtrend line out of this pennant formation here, and it did for a little bit during the session, but then it kind of pulled back, like Taiwan Semi. It tried to break out of that pennant early in the morning, and if the market was better, more accommodating, this thing could have really, had a nice day today, but it made it up to like 238, closed at 229. So yeah, if you take a look at the 5-minute chart, you could see the action on Broadcom just selling all day, into the close. Ouch. Anyway, that's just the kind of market we have right now. It's a chop suey fest. And couple of other names that thought it might help, but really didn't. AMD was downgraded today. Down 1.27% on a day. You would expect these semiconductors to move a little bit. ARM Holdings flat as a pancake, just consolidating still in that base. Applied Materials is one of these equipment stocks, and this is up 4.5%. So that benefited more from the Taiwan Semiconductor earnings report than most of them. ALAB, I believe this one just needs to base here. It's doing kind of what the Nasdaq is doing here, where it's got this 3 waves down type of thing going. There's your one wave, then rallied back up. And I know I hear from the double top crowd it's going to crash and burn. And it might come down to the 50. That wouldn't be the worst thing and form a little base. I think it kind of needs to do that before it can build the right side and then blast higher. We'll see. All right. CLS is one. I'm just going to throw them in this group because I don't really have electrical contracting manufacturer. I'm not, going to go through that group. There's a theme here today, but I did want to point out that it was super strong in the morning up to 115, closed at 110. just like pretty much everything else, just selling into the close. I really don't know what's going on here with these weak closes. That's kind of a bearish sign in the market when you close like that. But tomorrow's a new day. And then I wrote this one down. I don't know why. What am I doing here? I don't even know what this stock does. Oh, okay. This one's forming a nice little base here, a semiconductor equipment stock. 7 billion market cap, but yeah, I kind of like the right side of the base. It's a little bit, straight up from the bottom here. I believe that 247, it's going to form a little handle, allow these moving averages to catch up. But it's definitely one for the watch list for next week or maybe even later on. But you can see the big blue volume bars, and same thing on this one. It closed 32% of the daily range. So even these strong stocks are, and I believe it made a new high. That's what got me. Yeah, it made a new high and then pulled back. So everything kind of just pulled back into the close. So that's Nova, NVMI, and semiconductor equipment stock. And anyway, that's it for that group. I got to go to the software names. Duolingo, that thing was pumping this morning and then just, kind of gave it up. It broke above this downtrend line, so it's definitely an area of interest for me. I mean, if the market would just cooperate a little bit, some of these, yeah, this looks pretty respectable to me. It was up, man, a lot more. Let me see here. Because of this is the TikTok ban. The people who are learning languages on TikTok, yeah, 51% of the daily range. So right in the middle, not bad. But yeah, the TikTok ban has had a lot of people, subscribers going to Red Note, and those who are learning languages on TikTok are signing up. It had a huge spike in subscribers, Duolingo did, and that's why it popped today. Undercut the 50, rallied back through. So this is definitely one to watch as well. If the market would just cooperate, anyway, I'll get to that later. Spotify, I think, is going to have a little trouble at the 500 level there. It's got this flat base pattern, 506.47. Once again, you got to wait for earnings right around the corner. Um, you know, you never know which stock is going to pop during earnings. Spot could be one. Wix is one that I had on the ready list. Another one that looked like it was going to ramp today. Oh my God, it closed negative. Yeah, it was up to 246. So, broke out and pulled back. That's a bummer. I don't own Wix, but like to see these names breaking out of bases that continue higher and tack on gains. That's a sign of a healthy, strong bull market, but we're just not getting that right now. uh, PEGA, another one on my ready list here. This one broke out, tried to follow through today, 104 and closed at 102. Not bad. 54% of the daily range, but once again, I gotta believe this. Yeah, just the last couple hours just really sucked, to be quite honest. All right, Twilio, another name that's been really strong. Just got this like a flat base or shelf type pattern. Was trying to break out, then pulled back like everything else today. Roblox, another software name, made a new high, but closed, at the middle of the daily range there, 43%. And the last one is CYBR. This is one of these cybersecurity plays. Somebody's mentioning that these guys are a target for a buyout. I forget who was mentioning that. Anyway, made a new high today. So software, hit and miss, doing okay. Hardware, hit and miss, doing okay. But what's really pumping are these energy and oil stocks, and I just keep coming back to these. You guys are probably tired of me talking about these things, but you got to go with what works, and you don't fight the tape. And this is GEV. They're reporting earnings next Wednesday, the 22nd. Made a new high today, broke out of this base. Monday it pulled back to its 10 at 353. That was a gift, closed today at 391. It was challenging 400 today, yeah, 397. But with everything else, it just pulled back today. VST, same profile here, pulled back on Monday to its 10, 156, and then has ramped, the rest of this week. If you take a look at the weekly, these things are up, yeah, 4.3%. And GEV is up 6.5%. So, those are good weeks, right? I mean, these things are These things are doing what you want them to do. They're acting well. CEG, obviously, this is a theme on the data center plays that need the energy components for the next gazillion years. And plus, the electric vehicle, taking a strain on the grid. So these stocks are, these are going to be, I think, outperformers for a while. This is Constellation, made a new high today, 320.51. Pulled back, gapped higher in that news from the government contract, just pulled back one day and then just didn't even come back to the 10 there. That's probably the 5. So Constellation's super strong stock. Talon, TLN, another one trying to break out of that box there at 230.89. It certainly did that today, man. I think that's a buy right there at 230.89. Thank you very much. Another one that's not a utility, but is electrical power equipment stock of cooling for the data center. Still consolidating in a base, needs time, looks fine. Yeah, I wanted it to break above this downtrend line. It started to today, but it just, it's stalled. Just like everything else on the Nasdaq, or it's pretty much anything in the market. It was trying to break above the downtrend line. It was having a nice day. Looked like it was really going to ramp hard. What, 136? Yeah, and then close at what, 132 and a four and a half. Yeah, just a whimper of a close, man. Anyway, do I have any more? Yes. I'm going to go back to the utilities. NRG, this one breaking out of a base there at 103.14. Let's see if it can do what CEG and VST are doing, and TLN. It's going to follow in their footsteps. ETR, why did I write this one down? Okay, an electrical power stock, utility. It's a top group here, top 13 and breaking out of a base here, so that looks pretty good as well. Still actionable there at the 79 number. It's just a couple bucks above. So, if you don't own one of these utilities, they're a strong group. This is a strong stock and a strong group that just broke out of us, stage 2 base. All right, I'm going to move on and get to my favorite, my Landman portfolio, my Billy Bob portfolio, the oil and gas stock. This is where it's at. I mean, with oil, WTI and Brent above 80, these things are doing well. You can see EQT broke out of a base. I mean, it's up every darn day. I mean, what's not to like? 4 days this week, it's up nearly 10%. Thank you very much. We'll take our 10% and run. That's a good week. KNTK, another one that I've had on the ready list, as well as EQT. Nice move today, 3.6%. And it was up 7% this week. You can see that base there, a nice stage 2 base. This is one of these transportation pipeline stocks. That one looks good to me as well. WMB Williams company, still near a base. That's still actionable. That cup with handle pattern. Up 2%. I know people don't respond. I post on X all the time my energy stocks, and nobody gives a crap. My Billy Bob portfolio. But if I post Tesla or NVIDIA, I mean, they're all over that, right? I'm going to get to that in a minute too. The Tesla, NVIDIA, the Batman stocks. Give me a chance. But I'm excited about these gas stocks, man. I can't help myself. This is a breakout from that 228. This is Cheniere Energy, transportation pipeline stock. It doesn't take much to figure out, hey, this is a pretty strong group here, up 12.5% in a week. I know some people saying, oh, they move too slow. They're slow and pokey. I don't want those stocks. I'd rather lose money in tech stocks. Well, go ahead. Uh, Range Resources, look at this classic cup with handle breakout. Just every day they're just going up higher. I mean, pretty obvious. Institutions are buying these and loving it. Up more than 8% this week. Arch Rock, AROC. Yeah, I mean, come on. Up another 2% today. Up 13.5% this week. I guess, NVIDIA is probably doing better than that, right? Probably not. LB, this one I'm going to put on my ready list tomorrow. It's got this cup with handle pattern. It hasn't broken out yet like some of the others that I just showed you. It's just a recent, IPO stock. It went through its, IPO base and ripped hard, kind of like this due diligence phase. And now if it hits its, advanced phase, this thing could really rip. I would expect it to break out and run to $100. That would be my guess if the oil trade continues to be strong. GPOR had on the ready list last week. I mean, these things are just higher every day. Look at these blue volume bars. This thing has been up, I don't know, what, 10 out of 12 days or something. You know, I don't know what to tell you, folks. DTM, this is another one that I could put on my ready list here at that 109.85, call it $110 level. It's only $2 above it here. See, this one closed 89% of the daily range. So that's a little different than what I was showing you with the hardware and software names. These ones are closing strong. So that's a tell right there. Anyway, that's DTM midstream and NTRX. Uh, broke out of the base today, 1358, closed at 1434 at 85% of its daily range. So, that's the difference there, folks. Yeah, up 20% this week. You don't need that, do you? Nah, we'll stick losing money in NVIDIA. All right. Since and the last group that I'm going to go through quickly is the construction group. I like power here. I could put this on the ready list as well. Breaking above a downtrend line on Wednesday, following through on Thursday, 2%. That one looks good. The standard would be around 350, but I would get in before that. What else do I have? Oh, PRIM. Another one that's kind of set up here in a base. I got to drink some water. Yeah, it ran up to its buy point here, the old high, and now it's kind of stalling, allowing the moving averages to catch up. I kind of like that. It's got the blue dot indicating relative strength. And what else do I have in this group? Oh, Sterling. This is one that I'm watching, but it's up against the 50 there. It's got work to do. It's got to get above that level. And then MTZ, this one's acting well. Also, you know, kind of like the oil stocks and then energy names. Those are the three areas that, right now are, I'm gravitating towards because the groups are strong and, well, obviously they're going up. I like stocks that are going up. I'm a big front runner. Anyway, yeah, not closing with a whimper like, the other names that I showed you. Um, anyway, that's it for the oil and gas group. Yeah, 52% of the daily range. All right. I'm going to move on to Intuitive Surgical, the medical product group. This thing blasted out of a base yesterday and then, didn't give any back today. In fact, it tacked on $4. Not bad. DCTH is another one of these medical product stock, breaking out of a base here, up 8%. We kind of like that. Up, yeah, 19% this week. Very nice. And the other one I was looking at was ANGO, which popped and then kind of, holding its gains here. So that's another one that we like. So anyway, I skipped through the Broadcom. I did cover Broadcom, but I skipped out on the Apple, which had a report today. That's a nasty candle. That it's losing market share in China. And I don't know, there's a couple other Chinese distributors that are outpacing Apple. So that's not good for Apple. You can see that close, man. That is a nasty close. 2% of the daily range, so we would expect Apple to open lower tomorrow. Um, and then Tesla, was up 8% yesterday, get back 3 today, so not bad. 8 up, 3 down. Just an inside day for Tesla. Pulled back to its 10 EMA. That looks good to me. Why? Because it's making these higher lows every day. Look at the low, 377, 380, 394. Yesterday was 405. Today the low is 409. Giddy up. Yeah, Tesla looks of the mega cap tech stock, Broadcom, Tesla look pretty decent. Meta too, but Meta's involved with this TikTok shenanigans, and it's been my history that anytime the government gets involved in my investments, I end up getting screwed. So I'm really gun shy of PT. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm just I have scar tissue from government involvement in my stock, so I wouldn't even touch Meta. Depending upon whatever the Supreme Court rules on TikTok tomorrow, we'll see what they have to say. The Meta could take off, or I don't know who. Just think of Musk bought it. I think Zuckerberg would be really unhappy with that outcome as well. So, a couple of outcomes that don't look too good for Zuck, and one that looks good for him, but I don't know. I just don't like messing around with that stuff. Microsoft, I just have to show you this. I'm about ready to take this one out of my Batman stocks. Amazon, that thing just looks hideous. Yeah, pulling back to its moving averages, not bad. Ahead of the earnings. Earnings, like I say, are going to drive everything. Earnings, it's all about earnings. Google, they're going to report earnings soon as well. Just kind of stalling ahead of earnings. It's above the 21. I mean, I don't think you can expect much until we get that new data point. And then NVIDIA, just eh, NVIDIA. You had one good day. How about that? Below the 50 and yeah, pretty tough to make money in that one. All right, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Except for mcstockcharts.com, I have one more thing, and that is I mentioned earnings. And earnings is we're getting to the time of year where we're going to see, so I want you to stay positive now because we're going to see stocks that are going to totally rip and ramp and they can make your year. If I just go back one year, I can go back to SMCI, where if you own this stock here, help me out here. Marty, you're a retard. I got to go a little further up here. Yeah, I think it was January 20th. They pre-announced earnings, right? And you can see if you own this thing, whatever it was around what 350, I think it broke out from 357, then ran up to well, I don't know what it was, 1200. That could make your year here, or at least make your quarter, right? If you buy it right here at the breakout and then just let it rip. I mean, if you have 25-30% of your portfolio in this thing, as I did last year, you don't need to do a whole lot after that. And then also, if you had NVIDIA at the same time, this thing, NVIDIA and SMCI were ramping at this time last year. Just started off, I think it was January 20th. So, don't give up. I'm going to change the date here to today's date, which is the 16th, and go to a couple of other stocks. Don't give up if you've had, a couple of bad, weeks here in the index because it's been really choppy. It's been really tough. But you could hook into something. I just showed you NVIDIA and SMCI at the beginning of the year. And if you had App 11 here in the fall, I mean, from 90 up to 417, I mean, we're going to see moves like this. It probably won't be App 11 and it's not going to be SMCI or NVIDIA, but there are going to be some stocks that make moves like this after earnings. I don't know which one they are, but MicroStrategy as well broke out from that 200 base, ran up to 540. This type of stuff can make your year. So don't get down if you're getting chopped up in these little crappy trades. Hopefully you're trading small and you're probably, getting chopped up or making a few bucks here, losing a few bucks there as I am. Um, so have faith, things are going to go well. Now you're asking like, okay, I want one of those, right? That looks good in my portfolio. Well, we don't know which ones are going to, do the trick for us. But you got to look at some stocks that have made moves in the past year that have been strong, have shown the ability to make moves. Reddit could certainly be one of them. They could report earnings and just blast off. ALAB, I showed this one earlier. This thing could form a little base, report earnings on February 10th, and rip up to 500. You don't know. So we're going to watch for the reactions to these earnings reports. So it's pretty crucial that we pay attention here right now and be vigilant and have a list ready of these stocks reporting earnings. CRDO has shown the ability to make, big moves here. It's consolidating, maybe they're not going to report to the end of February, but you get my points. Some of these are going to rip higher. This is Rubrik showing the ability to really move. Another one, I'm just showing you these just as, stocks that have the potential to show massive moves. Monday, why not? It's been a big mover. ESTC, Elastic, has gapped higher with earnings, as you can see. It also gaps lower. Uh, I don't know. I'm just throwing some stuff out here. This is some of the stuff I'm watching, mostly in software and hardware, but it could be from another, a restaurant group or, from anywhere, construction, energy. So I'm watching the earnings report. Maybe it'll be Arista Networks that just trades higher. So what I'm saying, or GoDaddy, that's shown the ability to move as well, right? Or DoorDash, any one of these names, right? Could be the one that carries your portfolio for the year. You just have to be open-minded. Maybe it would be Spotify that just breaks out and rips up to 1,000. We don't know. I'm just saying, keep an open mind, be flexible. It's really critical to be flexible in this market where it's really, fluctuating and challenging to navigate. But, don't worry, our earnings reports are coming up. Netflix reports next week, GEV reports next week. I don't think Netflix will be the one that's going to carry your portfolio, but it's not going to rip 300% in a month. It might, but I kind of doubt it. It's kind of too big. This is GEV. Yeah, it could do it as well. They're reporting next Wednesday, so the reports are coming in next week, fast and furious. And I just want you to be where I will be posting these stocks. As I see them, I will be trying to buy them as close to a pivot area as I can. If GEV reports next week and jumps up to 450 in a day, it's gonna force your hand. It's gonna force my hand. Anyway, that's it for me. Earnings is since Reg FD in the I think it was 2000 was implemented, we have these huge, massive gaps on earnings because in the past, information was leaked and they would run up ahead of earnings, kind of like this thing is doing. And you'd say, "Oh, institutions know there's going to be a good report, and they're piling in ahead of it." But now we don't know. There's no disclosures, so no nods and winks anymore. That's illegal. And so earnings is what drives your stock appreciation. Earnings season is what's coming up. Earnings is what I'm looking forward to. And we're going to hook into a couple of lunkers out there, some big fish, and it's going to carry our portfolio at least for the first part of 2025. Anyway, thank you for watching. Stay positive and never give up.